You probably spend most of your time on your PC or on your smartphones, looking for the next self-help video that will change your life. You go through dozens, maybe even hundreds of videos every week, and you still don't see any change in your day-to-day life. You study all those self-improvement strategies, and they all make sense, but at the end of the day, nothing seems to be making any difference. Maybe you've even read some books. You've watched countless business interviews with successful people that you admire. I'm talking about entrepreneurs, coaches, professional basketball players. Why aren't you becoming more like them? Well, this video is going to give you the answer to that question in the most honest and direct manner. Even though I can't generalize too much, I'm going to give you the answers you're looking for so that you can make the most out of this year. I want you to become the best at whatever you want to do. I want you to see results in your work, and I want you to face problems head first. Are you ready? Good. But before we get into the topic, do me a huge favor by giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Done? Awesome. Now, let's get started. Why am I learning, but I still can't see any results? Most likely, you're addicted. Let me explain. When I first got into business, I started by reading books. I've read most of the well-known books on self-improvement and business. For example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Samuel Clayson, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and many more. Most of you have heard about these books, and some of you have probably even read them. They're very useful, well-known books on personal finance, mindset, and life in general. They provide such a unique perspective on life. After reading those, I started to wonder where I could start learning more about money and life. I really wanted to start a business, to become free, just like the rich dad in Kiyosaki's book. I wanted to live life on my own terms and never have to answer to a boss again. So I started researching the content online. I looked and found dozens of gurus, inspiring people, coaches, and whatever. I started watching videos, and that's when issues started to appear. I was a hardcore self-help addict. I wouldn't even take notes, and sometimes the content was the same stuff, copy and pasted on other channels. But I kept learning. I looked at my life, and it was no different from 1 year before, when I first read my first business book. I wondered, why am I not seeing any results with all this info that I acquired? After months of doing basically nothing, I came across this quote: "Unapplied knowledge isn't real knowledge. Only applied knowledge can generate success in real life." And that's when I realized that I was lying to myself. I wasn't being productive. I was consuming content. I used to talk down to my friends that spent most of their time watching Netflix and cat videos on Instagram, but I was no different. I consumed self-improvement content and motivational videos for pure entertainment. So I started being honest with myself, and it was one of the hardest things I've done in my business journey. I drew a line, and I said, from now on, I won't consume any content that I'm not going to use to generate action. And I don't want to be dramatic here, but this changed my life. My problem wasn't that I was watching the wrong videos, reading the wrong books, or listening to the wrong podcasts. I was the problem. I was just not taking any action, and I fell into this entertainment void where I just couldn't be real with myself. I was also addicted to my phone, which is very common now, and that didn't help at all. So this is my story, and I want to tell you how you can become a beast too. You see, being hyper-productive is innate for some people. They grow in the right environment, they happen to be results-driven naturally, but that's not the case for most people. I had to work hard to achieve productivity, and I still have a long way to go before I can say that I'm maximizing my potential. Today, I want to teach you exactly what I did to overcome my self-help content and phone addiction, and started generating real, measurable results. All you need to do is take notes, apply this knowledge, and I promise you, you will never go back to your old ways. But before we move on, I want you to take a moment to subscribe to our channel. As you see, we're not here to BS you. We have one main goal: to help you achieve greatness in business, finance, and personal life. If you want to become the best version of yourself and improve on a daily basis, you should follow us. Identify the problem. So let's get precise about this. We know that you consume too much content and you waste your time. But where does your time go exactly? You could install productivity apps to see where your time goes daily and how many hours you spend on your smartphone. But that's not mandatory. You simply need to get an understanding of what you're doing with your time and set some limits. Develop new habits. The rule of thumb is the following. It takes about 2 weeks of daily repetition to develop a new habit. And it takes about 90 days to develop a new lifestyle. It means that after about 3 months, that routine is part of your life. But the hardest days are the first 14, where the habit is completely new to you and you're constantly tempted to go back to your old ones. That's why I want you to proceed with caution. I don't want to get all hyped up and then go write down some dreamlike, unachievable habits that you won't be so happy about later today, and that you definitely won't practice. You must start small, very small, and increase difficulty with time. It's like a video game. You can't expect a level 1 player to defeat the final boss. The player needs to go through all the levels, which become tougher and tougher to beat. But the player also becomes tougher with time. See what I mean? So, for example, if now you barely wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll never stick to a routine where you're supposed to wake up at 5 a.m. right away. Try changing the time by half an hour, or maybe even just 15 minutes. Tomorrow, wake up at 7:30 a.m. instead of 8, and after 2 weeks, start waking up at 7, and so on until you reach your goal. The same goes for workouts, friends, family, routines, money, and everything else in your life. Your new habits are supposed to replace the unhealthy ones, but you won't be able to take everything away from yourself right away. For example, you're very likely to start using your phone for 1 hour maximum daily. That's crazy for most people. Decrease your daily usage limit with time. It'll help you actually reach your goal, and it'll also help you feel more fulfilled since you're making actual progress. Should you stop learning? I never said that. You should never stop learning. You see, mediocre and average people stop learning once they graduate. They have their degree, they're all happy about it, and they feel like their learning and reading years are gone forever. An intelligent and successful person knows that the only way to achieve long-term success and satisfaction is through continuous self-improvement and learning. You not only need to stay updated on things related to your industry or the economy, but you also need to change yourself with time and become better every day. I mean, if tomorrow's going to be a replica of today, what's the point of waking up in the morning? You should never stop learning. But from now on, you need a revolutionary approach to learning. Instead of seeing it as a chore, like studying biology in high school, see it as a solution. Whenever you are learning something, it should have some real-life, actionable purpose. If you're reading a fantasy book, that's not learning, unless you have ambitions in the creative writing industry. Watching a documentary on dinosaurs won't serve you unless you have ambitions in that specific field. Everything that you learn should have a purpose. So before you start watching content online, ask yourself this question. Why am I watching this video? Or why am I reading this book? If you have a clear answer to that, it means that you should probably get started. Also, remember to take actionable notes. This means that you only write down things that you must take action on in order to reach the purpose of acquiring that information. No fluff, no useless notes, just actionable steps and info. Eliminate distractions. Your phone is your biggest distraction probably. So here's what you should do. First of all, as I said earlier, you should set daily limits. This will help you realize how much time you're really spending on it, and if you're honest with yourself, you'll stop. Other things include putting your phone on airplane mode when working, and using it for productive activities only, like using the calculator. You could also put your phone in a completely different room, or in a cookie jar with a code. This way, getting the phone requires a certain amount of effort, a lot more than putting it out of your pocket. So you're less likely to use it or feel the urge to check social media. I also know of some people that put their phones in grayscale mode on their more demanding days. They do it because they feel like things are less interesting, and the phone becomes very boring in grayscale. This works for most people, and it makes it difficult to use the phone and understand with velocity what's going on, so you should try it. Most phones have these options in the notification bar or in the settings. But the phone isn't your only distraction. There are other things, like your family. If you're constantly interrupted by your dog, your cat, your kids, your mom, or your partner, you should let them know that you're changing habits. Put your cat somewhere it can't reach you, and tell your partner that during a specific time of the day, they can't reach you or interrupt you unless there's an emergency. Put your intent out there. Telling people what you're going to do and what your goals are has a sort of magic effect on your productivity and commitment. The best way to actually do all these things that you aren't doing right now is to develop accountability. Peer pressure works like magic, and it's all about having the right people around you. Change your inner circle. Find better friends that also are ambitious, and tell them to hold you accountable for your goals. When they'll ask you if you've been to the gym as you had promised, you'll find it very embarrassing to say that you preferred to watch Netflix instead. Got it? Good. Now you need to watch this. Dark and Bright Side of Entrepreneurship. Do you have what it takes? Billionaire morning routines you need to try. Why you should join the 5 a.m. club. Well folks, that's all we had for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a thing or two. Here on Practical Wisdom, we're all about providing massive value, so subscribe if you haven't already. With that said, have a great day you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.